Hello. So I've been doing some testing with Tristan. I told you I'd have a video about him, right? So we've been doing a lot of testing. So generally, what we have found that let's see, let's pull up Tristan's way on the bottom, right? So this ability here, the Blessed Vanguard, right? So whenever an ally in front of Tristan gains energy, Tristan gains some of its energy as bonus energy. Amount of energy gained increases if the ally is blessed. Like, well, actually, let's just evolve him because we have the stuff to evolve for to absolute star. So let's go with that. And let's level him up. This should be, we could start seeing like how much energy you can gain. 39 or 25.8 for non-blessed. So let's level him up. Let's see how high this stuff can get. Right, so we were kind of like doing a lot of testing. Right, kind of like said, what we found is like rather than I said so. So there's three other blessed heroes. There's Luther, there's Galahad, there is Marcus. Right, so like in Luther and Galahad, their tanks they sit in front of him. Right, the only heroes I can sit in front of him like are the other 9 tanks that are primary. Lilith sits behind him. She's secondary tank, primary control, I believe. All right, so he's max level. Let's try to give him a few promotions. Let's get him up. Let's see if we can give him a Violet to see how much we can. Oh my gosh, we don't have any of those. Raid times 2. Okay. Really? Oh my gosh. Fine. All right, then we're just gonna try to get him to purple so we can like I said, we just want to be able to look at this just a bit easier, because like I said, and see. We have those. Okay, now he's violets. Right, so if you level the skill up, so it's 39.35%, and then it gains, when you go up to next level, so it gets 0.35% from blessed heroes, and it looks like an additional 0.27% from non-blessed heroes. So every time a hero in front of him gains energy, he gains bonus energy, right? So while the blessed heroes give him more, the hero who gives him the most energy though is Aurora, because Aurora can patron with Cain and get all this bonus energy, right? So we have one of my guildmates actually has Tristan maxed, and we did a lot of testing here. Right, so we did some testing here at the guild battles. Actually, I think we did it in the chat here, like actually right here. So we had him test against my Arachna Maya team. We did have some defeats, some victories, right? But right, so we tried with Heidi, we just put it with like the Holy Trinity, just kind of, because that's kind of like the main core that works in a lot of groups. This one didn't go so well. We'll run this, right? Just kind of, you gotta be like experimental, but right, like I said, so this is, like I said, just kind of using Tristan, like not the best team, like in general, just kind of a mess, but just kind of, but you can see how much Tristan's getting these armor pen buffs up. He had 3 up at once, and that's kind of like what you want. And just kind of look in here. Didn't do a whole lot of damage. But this one gets a victory. And this one has Marcus is a blessed, plus Celeste, right? So Marcus, right, so now you have 2 blessed. Like this one actually is behind him. Like we've tried some Luther Galahad lines, which right behind, like having a second tank like Luther or Galahad behind where it wasn't coming out too well. But Marcus is a good hero in general and does have potential, and he also buffs magic defense. Right, and again, like he's able to keep these armor pen buffs up pretty consistently, thanks to all the extra energy. Just watch his energy bar. Right, every time Aurora gains energy, he gains a lot of energy. Like I said, every time Aurora dodges, she gains like 35% energy, and then he is, like I said, so her energy goes up, but she buffs all these dodge buffs up, and then Tristan goes up a lot because of Aurora gaining a lot. Like I said, you get armor pen buffs, you'll have like, 2 up very frequently. Sometimes you'll get 3 up at a time. Right, so this is a lot of energy. Right, this team's just pretty much grinding them out. Not a lot of DPS, but you have a lot of healing with, I said again, Arachne's magic, Aurora's doing magic, Celeste's doing magic, so that magic defense buff, that, like I said, look, we have all these things, but magic defense from Marcus adds up, but I mean, just look at all these armor pen buffs just dropping. Right, and you, like I said, now that the front line's gone and he's just going like, and like look at that, he did 101. Like I said, he got critical hit buff from Sebastian, but like he got to do a lot of damage on that one. Well, maybe not so much, but like I said, Sebastian, oh, that was the wrong one. I'm like, that's the wrong line. I'm like, that's the wrong one. I'm like, there you go, this one right here. So he did 761,000. Right, like I said, so, and Sebastian got to do a lot of pure damage on those kind of hits. Red Roar's still number one just because she has that Rainbow Halo and A spam, but, right, the other one that we saw had really good results, though, was Ishmael. One of Ishmael's problems is that his armor pen is kind of low. Right, like, it might not be as relevant here, but, he also, like I said, just one of those things, Ishmael also buffs crit. Right, and you actually put Ishmael further back. A lot of times Ishmael's far up, but this one, right, I said, right, this is more... This is the armor pen's not going to be too relevant here, but this line actually got pretty good results, right? But there's a lot of lines that Ishmael struggles with. Like they'll have like multiple armor pen buffs. Like they'll have like a Martha and an Anvari on the line. Like I don't have Martha and Anvari max because these are my teams we were testing. Like we were kind of doing, right? People always ask how to do max testing with pets. Like this is how you do it. You do it with guildmates who have all their heroes and pets maxed out. Like this is max testing with pets. This is what it looks like. Right, it does exist for in high-level guilds, right? But, you know, between Ishmael and Tristan, like I said, they're just cleaning up pretty quickly. That is a lot of physical DPS, right? Like I said, but Sebastian's tops DPS just because, like I said, neither one of these guys did a lot of damage. It's mostly Sebastian, and a lot of that was from Alba's patron, right? Because their crits, like I said, he gets to do even more because damage he pretty much, if they crit for 100k, he gets to do 200k in pure damage, like... Right, so Sebastian becomes a DPS with good physical attackers. Right, so, and then it had some defeats here. Right, this was with Astrid. Astrid had some, like, it actually didn't do too bad, but it did result in a defeat. But his Astrid's not quite maxed. We'll speed this up because we don't want this video to take too long. Right, but Astrid, right, like I said, you can start seeing some, and you do get a bunch of armor pen buffs, but it was actually getting some decent results. This fight actually ends up being pretty close. Right, and Arachne really just grinds it out because she has vampirism, but like this fight ended up being close. If Astra's maxed, or even just different dodge rolls, this team probably wins. Like it was pretty close. Like Astra did pretty good damage. Like Astra doesn't have particularly good armor pen. I mean, she has armor pen, but like she buffs defense, right? Like I said, but Tristan, like he pretty much gives you armor pen constantly behind Aurora. And that's kind of what we're seeing. Like this one, this was Galahad. Galahad's not max, but this is a pretty poor showing. Like, Galahad is the blessed hero, so Tristan should be, in theory, gain even more energy with having a second tank in front of him, but, I mean, he does get through that a bit more, but Galahad, he's just, right, he's not max, but Galahad, the results of Galahad were very disappointing. Same thing with Luther behind, like I said, just, like, right, and you could, I mean, Luther's probably fine as main tank, but you're not going to get as much benefit out of Tristan, right? So we think Tristan's main partner in crime is going to be Aurora, and you probably want Sebastian just because he can buff crit for Tristan to maximize, so you probably want those three. Celeste, again, Holy Trinity. You could replace Celeste with Marcus. We didn't do that enough, a lot of testing on that one, kind of like, right, like I said, we were just doing some kind of quick tests, kind of see some lines. We've done some other lines, like, and this is kind of like, for this video, we really just kind of went with Aurora because that she was proving to be the best hero to put in front of him, the best tank to play with him. Like, and that's because, I mean, not just, I mean, Aurora's just a really good hero in general. But, yeah, and then we started getting, this against Twins, though. Started getting a lot of defeats with these teams. Like, the Twins are pretty good. Like, this is probably where you'd want to switch Celeste for Marcus. Right, again, Luther disappoints here. But, switching Celeste with Marcus might work. Like I said, it's, like I said, Marcus, like I said, buffs magic defense, which, like I said, Marcus is a good hero already, like, and you can also get a bit more of that benefit from the Blessed. But remember, Marcus hits behind Tristan, so he's not going to get the extra energy. Right, but, right, so that says, the Twins are just really hard team for most teams to deal with. Right, like I said, and honestly, against Twins, you're probably better off bringing in Isaac than Tristan. We're just going to keep it real here, but we're just going to kind of show you what we got going. Just gotta show you what you got here. Right, it's like, like I said, Astrid has potential with Tristan. Like, Astrid's kind of a meh hero, but Tristan's, like I said, that much armor pen he can buff. Like, that's the kind of guy who's gonna bring it out. Again, everyone in Gold League has Aurora on defense almost always. Like, you'll see a lot of Auroras in Gold League, so it's really hard to do a lot. Like, this is with Ishmael, but again, like, twins get a lot of these kinds of lines. But I do think Tristan and Ishmael, like, would be a really good combo against him to have, like, multiple armor buffers. Let's see, that is with Galahad, which again disappoints, but Ishmael died too quickly. But this one gets a win, and this is, again, 2 healers. So you have Marcus, Celeste. This one actually works. Like, Marcus plus, like, so using Marcus as your 5th hero, like I said, it kind of work against the other. Like, these kind of lines actually work. I'm gonna slow this down just a second because you can get all these armor pen buffs, or as dodge buff spamming. The buff spamming, but magic defense, this is what's winning against the twins right here. Magic defense, that's from Marcus. That's the buff that is getting the wins versus the twins. And of course, Sebastian gives critical hit to the whole team. Right, but yeah, no, it's like you give him a magic set. Marcus, I think, is probably going to be really good. Like, and you might want to try experimenting like Marcus in places Celeste some. But there are some fights you just need Celeste for. Celeste is one of the best heroes in the game, and a lot of times, like, to solve an Oliver patronage or something, you will want Celeste on your team. Right, but that was a pretty clear victory. That's just the 2 healers, so there you go. That's it ends up being really good with the 2 healers, with Marcus and Celeste plus these guys. So yeah, so Tristan, like, he definitely has some potential. He's probably not going to be top tier. I mean, some of these fights, like, you know, you might just be better off using Isaac over Tristan. I mean, against the twins, like, you know, it's kind of like Tristan. You know, you could get a win against the twins, but then again, Isaac's already, a lot of you guys already invested in Isaac, so it's kind of like, eh. And Isaac also buffs armor pen. Maybe not quite as consistently as Tristan's doing, but I'm just going to keep it real. Like, you know, Tristan's kind of wants to fill a similar position as Isaac, and I think Isaac's just a better hero. But I said, I do think Tristan has potential. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video informative. Thank you for watching.